My family skipped the biggest moment of my life. No call. No message. Not even a lazy, "Sorry, we couldn't make it." Just silence, loud enough to rattle something deep in me. So when the news broke about my company's valuation, when people started saying my name in rooms I'd never stepped into, I wasn't expecting anything from them. No flowers. No congratulations. Nothing. Then my phone lit up with a text from my father. Short. Formal. Scripted, like a summons. Family dinner. 7 p.m. Important discussion. I stared at the glowing screen and felt something shift inside me. Not hope. Not fear. Something colder. Because I knew this wasn't reconciliation. It was the beginning of their reckoning. I was still in my office when that message came through. The city spread out behind the glass like someone had pinned a constellation to the skyline. Contracts were stacked on my desk. Projections. Plans. Numbers that had once kept me awake at night now sat neatly in rows, behaving. It had taken years to get here. Years of late nights at borrowed desks. Years of waking up with my cheek pressed to my keyboard. Years of quietly choosing my work over sleep, over comfort, over everything. And now my company's valuation had made the news. Reporters were emailing. Investors were circling. For the first time in a long time, I felt like the world finally saw me. But my family, they had always seen something else. My father Gregory loved to say real business had walls and doors and land, not little online experiments. My mother Helena pretended my work was a quirky phase I would eventually grow out of. Marcus talked down to me like he was mentoring some intern, even though he'd never built anything that survived longer than a tax season. And Dylan, well, Dylan filmed himself for the internet and waited for the algorithm to bless him. So when that text came in, family dinner at 7. Important discussion. I knew it wasn't about celebrating me. It never had been. Still, a small, fragile part of me hesitated. The part that remembered being 21 in a cramped dorm room, clutching a half-read textbook, waiting for a "good luck" call that never came. The part that remembered sleeping in my car because rent was due and my parents said struggle would build character. The part that, even now, after headlines and handshakes, still wondered if showing up one more time might finally change the story. But hope can be a dangerous habit. I shut my laptop and grabbed my jacket, the plain one I wore to family things because it was easier to look simple than to explain success. The sleek SUV stayed parked in the garage. Instead, I took the old sedan with the worn steering wheel and stubborn AC, the one my family recognized. Appearing humble kept them predictable. Predictable people make mistakes. On the drive to the country club, memories surfaced like road signs. Missed graduations. Half-hearted holidays. Their attention drifting toward whoever shimmered brightest for them that week. And me, shrinking myself smaller and smaller so their disappointment wouldn't feel so heavy. But tonight was different. Tonight I wasn't going there hoping to be seen. I was going there knowing exactly who they were. The country club sat on a hill at the edge of the city, glowing like it was trying to prove something. I pulled in behind a row of spotless luxury cars, paint so polished the lights bounced off them. My sedan gave a small groan when I shut the door. I rested my hand on the roof for a second, steadying myself. This place used to feel like neutral ground. Tonight it felt like a stage. Inside, the marble floor echoed with every step. The air smelled like citrus polish and old money, the scent of every fundraiser and networking event I'd been dragged to as a kid. Back then I'd hovered at the edges of conversations, invisible unless someone needed a favor. A young valet glanced at me, then past me, like he was waiting for someone more important. I kept walking. As I approached the private dining room, I heard them before I saw them. Laughter a little too loud, a little too polished. The sound of people filling silence, not sharing joy. When I opened the door, they all turned toward me at once, caught mid-performance. My father stood first, arms opening like I'd just flown back from war. Ruby, finally. My mother kissed my cheek, then pulled back with a tiny frown. You look tired. Are you eating enough? Marcus smirked, swirling his wine like a prop. Dylan barely looked up from his phone. I took the seat waiting for me, just slightly apart from the rest. Not close enough to belong, not far enough to be called rude. Fitting. The conversation started the way it always did. Shallow questions. Forced interest. My little company. My busy schedule. Their tones carried that thin mix of skepticism and fake praise, like they were humoring a child. I answered calmly. Let them pretend they were being generous. Then Marcus leaned back, eyes narrowing. So, your name made the news today, he said. There was a hint of admiration in his voice, but mostly calculation. Gregory chimed in. Yes, quite the attention grabber. Must be exciting. He said exciting the way some people say inconvenient. The air shifted. My mother glanced at him, then at Victor, their longtime business partner, who cleared his throat like he was about to deliver a pitch. I recognized the feeling immediately. That quiet tightening under my ribs. The "here we go" that my body felt before my brain did. Gregory laced his fingers together and leaned forward. We actually wanted to discuss something important with you tonight, Ruby. There it was. The real reason I'd been called. The warmth in the room drained as fast as his voice did. The chatter died. Forks went still. Every face shifted from casual to hungry. I'd seen that look before. Not on family. On people who came to take. Victor smoothed his jacket and slipped into his presentation tone. As you know, he began, the motel group has been experiencing some challenges. He wrapped the word challenges in silk like that would make it less of a disaster. Gregory jumped in. But we're on the brink of something big. A full transformation of the flagship property. Spa, upgraded suites, event space. The works. I blinked slowly. The flagship property was one leaky roof away from condemnation. Marcus leaned in, elbows on the table, confidence turned up to 11. This could be legacy-defining, Ruby. The kind of long-term asset your digital thing just can't match. Digital thing. Cute. My mother placed a hand on my arm, voice soft, eyes shining. Honey, this is an opportunity to be part of the family's future. To give back. We carried you for so long. It feels right. There it was. Wrapped in guilt. Tied with a bow. Right. Their eyes were all on me now, waiting for the version of Ruby they were used to, the one who would be flattered to be included, who would bend herself into gratitude because they had finally made room for her. Gregory's tone turned businesslike. We need a bridge loan, he said. Just 1.5 million. You've got access to credit, new connections, the status. Status, like a faucet they expected me to turn on. We'll pay you back with interest the second construction financing clears, Victor added. This is your chance to buy into the family's empire. Empire. I almost laughed. But I didn't. Instead, I watched them. Gregory's jaw tightening. Victor's fingers restless on his glass. Marcus's too bright grin. Dylan finally looking up, nodding along like he understood any of this. There was a time this would have worked. A time when their approval felt like oxygen. When I mistook being needed for being loved. But I wasn't starving for them anymore. And I wasn't their food. I set my napkin down on the table, smoothing the fabric. So, I said, my voice steady, you all skipped the biggest moment of my life. But you're here for this. No one spoke. The silence wrapped around us, thick and hot. Gregory's expression hardened. Don't be dramatic. This is about family. Family, I repeated. Interesting choice of timing. He frowned. What's that supposed to mean? It means, I said calmly, I didn't come here to rescue an empire you already burned down. My mother gasped. Victor stiffened. Marcus's smile cracked. And something inside me clicked into place. Not anger. Certainty. The room stayed frozen after that. Gregory leaned back slowly, fake warmth gone. So that's your position? You're going to lecture us about sacrifice and commitment? Marcus gave a low laugh. She gets some attention online and now she thinks she's above the family. My mother dabbed at a dry eye with a napkin. We're trying to include you, Ruby. Don't twist it into something ugly. Ugly. If they only knew how they looked from here. Victor folded his hands, adopting his most patient tone. Let's not escalate things. Look, Ruby, $1.5 million is nothing compared to what your valuation suggests. This is strategic. For all of us. For all of us, I repeated, letting the words sit there. Tell me, Victor, when exactly have you considered what was good for me? He started to protest. I didn't let him. Was it when I asked Dad for help getting my first apartment and he told me renting a room on Craigslist would build grit? Or when I applied for that accelerator and you called my company a hobby dressed up as ambition? I was trying to guide you, he said tightly. No, I said. You were trying to keep me small enough to manage. But I stopped fitting a long time ago. Gregory slapped his palm lightly against the table. We didn't call this dinner to dig up old grievances. We called it to build something real. Something lasting. Something lasting, I echoed. Like the leaking roofs at the motels. The broken heating system downtown. The unpaid contractor bills. The compliance reports you've been ignoring. The silence sharpened. My mother went pale. Marcus straightened. Victor's jaw tightened. Gregory's eyes narrowed. How would you know that? Because I pay attention, I said evenly. I always have. You just never paid attention to me. Dylan finally put his phone down. Ruby, what are you saying? I'm saying you're not looking for an investor, I replied. You're looking for a lifeline. That's outrageous, Victor snapped. I reached into my bag and placed a plain folder on the table. No logo. No label. Just wait. I came tonight because I wanted to hear how you'd spin it, I said. But I didn't come unprepared. Gregory stared at the folder like it might explode. What is that? The real numbers, I said. Not the ones you tell each other to sleep at night. The ones the bank sees. The ones the city sees. The ones your lenders see. The door opened before anyone could answer. Ava stepped inside. Ava has the kind of presence that doesn't need volume. Tailored blazer, level gaze, a kind of quiet that makes people sit up straighter. She walked directly to me, ignoring every confused face at the table. It's done, she said. All documents are finalized. Transfer is complete. My father shot to his feet. Transfer? Transfer of what? Ava set a fresh stack of papers in front of me. I slid them toward him. Your motel group, I said. Your debt. Your outstanding obligations. The notes you've been juggling. All of it. Victor snatched a document and scanned it. That's impossible, he muttered. The bank hasn't, the bank sold the debt, Ava cut in calmly. Last week. To a private investment entity. Gregory's face twitched. What entity? Mine, I said. The room didn't explode. It imploded. Marcus's chair scraped back. Dylan whispered, holy shit. My mother stared at me like I had turned into a stranger. Ruby, she breathed. What have you done? What you pushed me to do, I answered. You wanted me to invest in the family empire, but there is no empire. There is a failing portfolio built on nostalgia and denial. No responsible lender would touch you. Victor flipped through the pages, each turn draining more color from his face. Past due notices. Code violations. Hazard reports. Lawsuits. All lined up, undeniable. This isn't salvageable under current management, he said quietly. It is salvageable, I said. Just not with you running it. Gregory's voice shook. You think you can humiliate me like this? Take my properties. My name. I held his gaze. I didn't take anything you didn't put up for sale. You chose debt over change for years. The bank chose to unload it. I chose to buy it. The difference is I know how to fix what you refuse to admit is broken. Marcus exploded. You blindsided us. You should have told us. Why? I asked. So you could guilt me into a different decision. So you could talk me into writing a blank check and letting you burn through it. My mother's tears finally turned real. This is our life, Ruby. And it will go on, I said, my voice low but steady. Just not with you in charge of the thing you're asking me to save. Ava slid one more envelope onto the table. My father stared at it. What is that? A buyout, I said. 200,000. Clean. Enough for you to walk away without being crushed. More than the equity is worth right now. I'm not taking your charity, Gregory snapped. It's not charity, I said. It's severance. His face flushed. You are no daughter of mine. The words landed. And for the first time in my life, they didn't break me. They freed me. I pushed my chair back and stood. You're right, I said quietly. I'm not the daughter you wanted. I'm the daughter your choices created. Marcus kept shouting. Victor muttered about lawyers. Dylan buried his face in his hands. Helena looked between them and me like the ground had disappeared. I stepped away from the table. I didn't come here to save your version of family, I said. I came to end my part in your mess. Then I turned toward the door. Ava opened it for me. We walked out. The night air was cool and honest. Behind us, their voices bled through the walls, layered with panic and accusation. Out here, there was just the sound of traffic and my own heartbeat slowing down. You okay? Ava asked as we crossed the parking lot. Yeah, I said. And this time, it was true. My old sedan waited in the corner. The SUV sat closer, sleek and still. For years I'd chosen the sedan around them so they wouldn't feel threatened. I walked past the sedan and unlocked the SUV. You don't have to pretend anymore, Ava said softly. I slid into the driver's seat and closed the door. The quiet inside felt different now. Bigger. Clearer. My phone buzzed. My mother's name flashed on the screen. I watched it ring. Watched it fade. Did not answer. Then I blocked the number. Not as revenge. As closure. I pulled out of the lot and onto the main road. The city opened up ahead of me, lights blinking like small invitations. For the first time in my adult life, the future didn't feel like a test I could fail. It felt open. They always said family is forever. What they never said is that forever shouldn't mean as long as they can keep taking from you. Love isn't measured by blood. It's measured by who shows up for you when there is nothing to gain. My family only showed up when they smelled opportunity. So if you've ever had to choose yourself over people who only call when they're hungry, hear me, you're not selfish. You're finally surviving. And that is nothing to apologize for.